Now I gotta ride or die.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a chat in a car with me. We used to do this so much on the channel, and today's topic I feel like is a pretty interesting one because something I get asked quite a lot. Now, thankfully for me, and you know, with what I've done in the channel, what we've done, you know, car-wise especially, today's topic is a funny one as we exit the FYD JW cul-de-sac of units. It is, should you finance a car or should you buy it outright? Now, I feel like I get asked quite a lot about this sort of topic, so it's always nice to jump in the car. I've got a lot to do today. There's multiple things going on, and I feel like if I chat to you guys on a one-to-one level, especially in a video, you know, no cuts, we're going to go for a drive, we're going to have a little hoon in the M4 and chat about this topic that I get asked quite a lot, because there's a lot of people out there that especially are, you know, maybe now in their 30s like I am, or you're just getting into your first car. There's scenarios in each level. I was listening to a very well-known podcast the other day about financing, and should you finance a car, should you use your own money, should you use someone else's money? Now, I want to get you guys in the comments and chat about this. And what position are you in? Are you in a finance car and want to get out of it? Have you bought a car outright and don't necessarily want to be in it anymore? Or do you think financing and keeping your own money to the side is the right thing to do? Or is it not? Let me know below. But I'm going to chat about my experiences and whether or not I, at the position I'm at, would do it or not again. And then, you know, take myself back to, say, an 18-year-old state, you know, first car, whatever it is, and sort of go from there. Now, I feel like if you are at a point in life where, you know, your credit score is everything when it comes to financing. A lot of people don't touch on that when they're talking about finance, especially from what I've listened to podcast wise. Now, if you've got a good credit rating, that will obviously help you. If you're buying the right car on a PCP agreement, that will also help you as well. Buying something older that's not able to be PCP'd will mean that you will have a larger monthly outgoing. So, in the scenario of my RS3, so I was 29 when I bought that car, first car I properly financed in my name, as in finance on a car, because before that, my BMW X6 was a loan for the car. It was a loan for a purchase to buy a car, so a bit different. APR is different on that. They're not necessarily loaning the physical car that you're getting, they're loaning you the money. So there's a very different aspect to that, and that is, again, really, really down to how good your credit score is. Mine was shocking at the time, and I'm going to be the first person to say, if you haven't got a good credit score, don't bother financing something that's going down in price. That's the first thing I'm going to say. If you have a sub 400 credit score, say on ClearScore especially, I don't use Experian, I use ClearScore on stuff, but this is one of those things I need to talk to you about, because if you're willing to finance something and your credit score is pretty crappy, you're gonna pay such a premium on that car. So the RS3, my credit was okay at the time. It was, I think they class it as stable. Starting a business, going into debt, trying to make things work, things happen. And trying to get a loan for that car proved to be not hard, but it was harder than I thought it was going to be. Now, I actually loaned the car. It wasn't on a hire purchase agreement. It was actually, you know, a finance agreement. As a large bus comes down the road. Look at the size of the double decker coming down what is basically a single track road. Thank you very much. Yeah, so take the RS3. It was a full finance on that car. Sorry about the darkness. It is, there's trees in the way. Yeah, so it's a full loan on that car. So you put a deposit down and the monthly figure is helping you pay that off, right? Got a lovely motorbike behind us as well. You guys won't be able to see it. He's going past us. Go on, lad, that's it. Love to see it. Love to see it. So yeah, that in that scenario was slightly harder to finance because you're financing something slightly older and they are expensive, but you're financing the whole thing. This M4 is on a PCP agreement, first one I'd ever done. My credit score was a little bit better. I was able to get a better APR, and I was able to put quite a large sum up, you know, the most that I've ever actually put as a deposit on a car for this one. The monthly figure's really, really low though. Obviously I won't go into mega details because you watching this, it will be different. It will be very different for you guys because of everything, how much you earn, what your credit score is, how much you can afford, blah 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 blah, all these other silly things that they want to pull you up on when doing a credit check. So yeah, this is on a PCP agreement, so you put a monthly figure in, so they tell you that, and there is a balloon payment at the end of the agreement that you can then refinance. Now that was the easiest way for me to get into this car, but I probably put, I'd say, a quarter of the amount down as a deposit on the RS3 as I did on this, but my monthly figure is a quarter of the amount than the RS3 was on this car. So if you'd like to work that out in the comments, you can. But that's the difference between financing a physical asset, in a sense, with a crappy credit score or not a very good credit score, and then actually PCPing a car that's new enough and easy enough to get into. The flip side of it, so let's talk about physically going and buying a car. Now, I personally would say do not ever go and walk into a dealership with £30,000 in your bank that you've earned from working really, really hard and buy an M4. You would be stupid to do that, in my opinion. This is my physical opinion. You are silly to not let someone else give you the money for it, which is what a PCP agreement is. If you do it the right way, you'll come out clean. The last thing you want to do, and I'll take this as an example, you buy a Range Rover, £40,000, you're 7 grand in, say, and it's £400 a month. At the end of the 3-year agreement, the car is not worth the balloon, right? You've lost your every monthly figure, so every month you've lost money, so you've rented the car in theory, and you've lost that 7 grand. You don't want to do that. You can do that. I would probably advise not doing it, so do your research, obviously. But there's many different things you can do in the sense of physical money. I personally, at this point in my life, would not probably go out and buy something new and expensive for physical money, knowing full well that I was going to lose the money. That's just the way I do things. So I would buy something like a £3,000 Lexus GS300, the one I used to have. I sold it for 3 grand. They're still 3 grand now. The £3,000 you put into that car will always be worth £3,000. Same as a 10 grand car. If you buy a 10 grand car with cash, with, you know, bank transfer, whatever you want to do, and that car is still physically worth 10 grand, that's the right way to do it. If you're buying outright. If you're buying outright and the car's worth 10 grand, and in 3 years' time it's worth 2 grand, you've lost your 8 grand. Now, I get there's a lot of people out there that don't mind doing that because of cars, depreciation. They've enjoyed the car, much like the whole Range Rover dispute. If I'm honest, you get to drive a Range Rover around for 3 years. That's great. But you do have to take into consideration that you do lose that money. Now, physically buying something for 3 grand, of course, there will be other incurring costs probably with servicing, maintenance. Chances are with a new PCP'd or finance car, there won't be too much. Plus, at the end of the day, you could take it back to the dealership and say you don't want it anymore. Now, that's the 2 ways I see, or multiple ways, there's more than 1, 2 and 2 ways, but that's the multiple ways I see of buying a physical asset, a car, at the moment. There is multiple ways you can win on that, or at least hold your money, and there's also multiple ways you could very quickly lose. If you were to buy this Nissan Qashqai coming past here, great car, great for the kids, great for everything. Say it's 15 grand with, you know, 2 grand down, £300 a month, lovely. In and out, let's go. Easy finance. Chances are you are not going to walk out of that car without having to either pay to get rid of it, as in pay physical money, because the balloon at the end of the PCP agreement is bigger than the car is actually physically worth, or you will just lose the whole amount that you put in. So every physical monthly payment and the deposit. There's nothing wrong with that. And what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody does it. I think every car driving past here is probably losing money for the owner as they drive it. That's just how life is. But if you do your research and work out that the market sometimes on certain cars with certain options and certain colours won't lose you money, that is key. Last thing to talk about, earning money from a car. A lot easier with physical cheaper cars, obviously, because if a car is up for £2.5 grand and it needs £500 worth of work and it is £5 grand at the end of it, you've got a £5 grand car out of it. Great. Whether you sell it or not, it's up to you. Make money, don't make money, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But if you get that into, say, a £30,000 M4 and you put an exhaust on it and all this sort of stuff, you will not be getting that money back at all. Every single thing you put on that car is gone forever. Now, that doesn't mean don't do it. Look at me, I'm doing it right now. But I like to put my money where my mouth is, in a sense that if there is an opportunity for me to understand how the car market works, values of cars, PCP agreements, finances, I always try and do it to have the knowledge. So after this car, I'm going to go buy something physical cash or bank transfer, whatever you want it to be. But it's not going to be another PCP or finance agreement, because I think I've had enough of PCP and finance agreements. I'm done with them. I can't be bothered. So that's the way I see it. If I finance something for a bit, if I PCP something for a bit, and then if we come back to, you know, a physically bought car, it won't be some extravagant, stupid, fire-breathing thing, but it'll be something to take my kids to school in, comfy, nice car that's already done its depreciating. That's the way I see stuff. So if you are going to finance something, I'd always say make sure it's actually worth the finance agreement. If it's not in physical terms, as in for your family, for benefit for your family, then it is for personal. It would be financially, it would be the right thing to do. If not, buying something that's actually worth what it's worth is always better than not. Do you know what I'm saying? Overpaying for a car and then it going wrong because you've bought that physical asset and it's not on finance and you bought it by the side of the road. I've been there. My first Porsche Cayenne I bought for the channel many moons ago. Classic scenario. It literally, I drove it home and it broke and I needed to put a £300 battery in it. It was a cheap car, don't get me wrong, it was cheap for what it was, but it meant that I had to already physically buy something for it that was, you know, I was thinking of doing. So yeah, that's how I see finance and buying a car. It's really up to you guys whether you actually want to do it or not. Because remember, the ball is in your court. But try both sides. Go and finance something, see how you feel about it. Make sure you don't lose too much money. Go and buy something with physical cash and see if it actually benefits you in the sense that you don't have a monthly figure and you can physically keep that car on the road and it does cost you loads of money. Or go and PCP something. See how the PCP is. See how you know, come out the other side of it. See how you're enjoying that newer car with a monthly figure, with a balloon payment. Do all three, because I have, and I'm going to then choose which one I want to do next. And I'm probably going to go back to the initial just buying a car, I reckon. That's the way I'm going to see stuff. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you did like this style of video, please give it a thumbs up. I will do more like this because I really like chatting to you guys about stuff like this, because I've been sort of around the block for YouTube especially, and buying and selling cars. I always like to give a little bit of, not necessarily knowledge because it's all just waffle, but take what you will from this video. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow.